Using Verizon Wi-Fi.
Oh, thank you, Verizon. Hey, we're live. Okay, follow us online. Bye.
What is up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
I'm not allowed to do intros.
No.
So I think Magic's gonna do.
Well, no one's listening. No one's watching yet, so
we'll take it. We'll take a minute.
We'll have this going into it. I had a 3-horse daily double starting here.
I'm gonna have another long shot run second.
All right.
Working goal is outside of that barely. Racing broke around the second to last.
I guess I don't need my sunglasses. It's kind of goofy. I grabbed them and come down. And I was like, no, I don't need them.
See, this is the struggle. The Twitter, you get people right away.
Yeah.
That's when you're pulling people from the other one. That's the only knock on this. Like that's. I'll tell you about the card breaker company for a while. Like we tried to go between YouTube and streamers, and it was really hard to build an audience out here.
Oh, I forgot we were coming down the hill again.
Come on,
I don't think I had the 2.
Oh, the one got cut
Sure
off.
I didn't have the 2.
Get up, one. Get up. Get up.
Whoa, you don't get there, but that's going to be close.
Get up. Oh, get up.
Oh, yeah, there. Got it. Got it! Nobody saw this happen.
9-1.
Nicely done. Nicely done. I don't think I had that much. I think it went 7, 8, 9 or something.
First freaking horse I got home all day to number.
All right. Let me get on to. Oh, shit, where's the feedback? That's what I meant. You posted something, right?
Yeah, I posted it on my Twitter. Just make sure it actually shows up. Yeah, live now. Look at that.
All right, there we go. I love that. That's a great thumbnail. All right, let's get it going. No one's listening. I'll just do it. All right, 3, 2. What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
This is the Magic Mike Show, live from Santa Anita.
The great race place.
The great race place.
It just got better. The first winner of the day right there. Second to last race.
9-1 home in the third to last. That was race 7. Got two more races to go.
Play the double instead of the pick 3.
Yeah. Well, welcome to
Dollar Beers Day.
Dollar Beer Days. Happy President's Day to everybody.
Cheers. Not a better place it could be than at the racetrack.
It could be a little warmer here.
It could be.
I got my sleeves rolled up, but it is damn cold out. But hey, we are here to talk about some great races and some interesting races. I don't know if we can call any of these great, really.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll
There could be some. I was really impressed with a couple horses over the weekend. I'm looking forward to talking about them. The Southwest just went off.
Yeah, we just saw that finish a few minutes ago.
I don't think we really need to talk about that too much. I mean, that was a little bit of a mess.
I mean, we had a feeling it might be a mess anyways. When Todd Pletcher's horse comes in, is supposed to be the best one in the race. The way Todd Pletcher's been, you know this is probably not going to be. Todd Pletcher's best horse today, by the way, or at least his best 3-year-old, was in the maiden special weight debuting. That's saying something.
He looked good. He looked good.
He looked good. He didn't look that good, but he looked better than this whole Southwest field. That was a mess and a half.
I would almost feel bad about saying Todd Pletcher is back if he wasn't so bad for so long that I think maybe there was just a window of hope there, and the window is shut now. I mean, it's been bad. It's been very bad. It's been brutal.
It's been bad. Sorry to all you Todd Pletcher fans out there.
And I'm one of them. I like Todd Pletcher. Usually you can count on the guy, and you haven't been able to recently.
No, you can count on Jorge Navarro at Gulfstream Park. Jorge bringing home 3 winners on the restricted stakes races today.
But he also beat that big Todd Pletcher. It's supposed to be the best Pletcher in the barn, and he beat him with a 12-1 horse on the inside that you had a tip the day before and didn't tell anybody.
Well, you didn't ask. I mean, you should just know, bet Jorge. I'm always going to say bet Jorge, but I really did have a tip on that
especially at Gulfstream Park.
Especially there too,
He's not bad.
So.
He's not bad.
Yeah. But hey, thank you for everybody who's joining us on YouTube live on the Racing Dudes YouTube channel. We're going to let's just get right in. What's the best thing that you've seen kind of in this weekend of racing? What's the best performance or best thing you've seen?
So I'm going to go away from racing.
Okay. I'm glad I started it out that way.
Because the best performance is St. Louis Blues. We've won 10 in a row. It's the longest win streak since 2002. This team was terrible for a long time. And I'm like Jared level Chiefs fanboy with the Blues. Aaron and I are texting back and forth about this. And I've been kind of on the down low because I was really excited coming into the season, and they were Todd Pletcher bad early in the year. And now they're like Jorge Navarro good, and it's incredible. So they've won 10 in a row. It's the longest win streak since 2002. I'm taking my nephew to another game. The Blues are coming to Carolina on March 1st, so I'm super excited about that. So the Blues are the best thing that I've seen recently because they're actually playing really good hockey.
They just changed the head coach not that long ago, right?
Yeah, we fired fired Yo's ass about 25 games ago, and this guy who's been like a lifer assistant, Chad Ruby, came in, took over, and the thing is this goalie who's a rookie who wasn't touted, so he like didn't have a bunch of press, named Binnington. So now it's Winnington.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So he is 11-1-1 since he came up to the NHL, and he's 26 years old. So it's not like one of these like 21-year-olds who's supposed to be good.
Right.
It's one of these like the El Debio Delgado type journeyman jockey goalies that just pops up and shows up. So super excited about the Blues being good. What's the best thing you've seen recently?
It's got to be today. Victor Espinosa returned to the saddle.
That's pretty awesome.
Pretty damn awesome. First race at Santa Anita today. By the way, you can hear Frank Mirabati in the background. Sorry if it's a little hard. Let us know in the chat if it's a little crazy because we don't know.
We should tag Frank. Give him a shout out. What's going on?
But so Victor, if you don't know, July 22nd, he was working out Bobby Abu Dhabi, which is a stakes winning horse, nice horse. Working him out at, I think, Del Mar, and Bobby just had a complete catastrophic breakdown at full speed. Victor went flying and 40 miles an hour and just landed on his head, and he paralyzed for a minute. He finally, months and months and months of hard physical therapy. Anybody's ever had to do like major physical therapy knows that is not easy to get back from. And he made it back today. So they
it was really cool. His interview is, I don't want to go out on anyone else's terms but my own.
Yeah.
And like, it was cool to hear him talk about it and how hard he's worked to get back to the spot. And your boy, Ruben Fuentes, ruins the return.
So Ruben
blows it up.
Ruben Fuentes was actually on my top choice in the race at 9-1. And he went, he took off at the top of the turn when he came off the hill and stretched out. And Victor was mid-pack and came flying, but it ran out of real estate. So I'm the only one in the press box going, yeah. And everyone else is just looking at me like, you're an asshole.
Did you bet it?
Yeah, I did.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
$2 to win on Ruben Fuentes.
$20 goes a long way on Dollar Beer Day.
It really does. Yeah. But that's the best thing I saw. So welcome back, Victor. It was his only mount of the day, but he already said he wants to do 6 or 7 races a day. So I would expect, we don't have the draws out yet for Saturday and Sunday, but I expect to see Victor Espinosa getting some more mounts and getting back in the game. Today's show, we're going to talk about what we just saw, the Southwest Stakes. We're going to also give our own opinions on some other races from this weekend. I know the guys on Blinkers Off did a great job covering it in their own live reaction podcast, but we're going to do our own spin on Imagine My Style. Riders up. Let's fell off the picnic table.
Really excited. That would have been a pretty good live take right there.
That would have been classic Imagine Mike show.
Oh, man.
Perfect.
Get the little hospital ambulance going by right at the same time.
All right, Mike, let's kick things off here. Which race you want to talk about first? You want to talk about Southwest? We just saw it.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about Southwest.
That was a crazy race. At one point, I knew Super Steed was the best, and he wins it at 62-1, the longest shot on the board by a country mile, because they were going 5 wide into that turn. Super Steed is going 5 wide around all these horses, and moderate fractions. Yeah, and he came flying off of that, and he straightened for home and shot down to the rail, and I was like, this damn horse is 62-1 is going to win this race. Like, this is, by the way, this horse was a long shot. We almost had Super Steed on our team because Paul has him in the fantasy league and offered us Super Steed at one point for, I think he wanted to have Moretti and Mucho, and like he was trying to do a 3-way trade, and we would have had Super Steed. After that performance, I still don't want Super Steed. That's great, like points. I know we're dying for points. That would have been nice, but otherwise, like, this is the hell happened in this field, Mike.
I mean, I think that look, these. Then I'm going to go into this a little bit later too. These I'm going to call them 2nd and 3rd tier tracks. Do an awesome job of putting together wonderful days, but the horses are just not as good as the other tier track. And you can get some random outcomes here when you have that type of thing. I mean, really, we didn't have that much in this race. We had great attempt, we had cutting humor, and then you have a ton of horses. And when you combine a race where the favorites, and we're going to go into tactical speed quite a bit with War Will. I mean, Aaron did a wonderful job talking about that on the live show. When you have horses that are the favorite that aren't tactical speed in big fields for the first time or second time,
right?
It is just ripe for upsets when you don't have really good horses. And that is exactly what we ran into here. We had a horse that took advantage of the situation, got first run on everybody, was able to make a move and get home at a huge number. And you go back and he ran a really nice race going 6.5 over sloppy going, 3 back. So maybe you saw something there, but I don't know how you get to this horse. I mean, that was just one of those where my dad would have had the exacta. He got married in 1976 and he bet 7-6 every single race. So he would have been ecstatic because it went 6-7. But I'm really not sure
it did, didn't it?
how else you get to this exacta. I mean, unless you're doing goofy bets, I don't know how you get here.
I could have made a case for Sueno just because Keith DeSormo does this. He brings in horses from Santa Anita who look like a second class easily.
Mhm.
And then he did it last year with my boy Jack, won the Southwest. So, Sueno, Joe, shut up. I love my boy Jack. You knew I was going to bring it up. So he does it again when Sueno gets up for, but he wasn't close. It wasn't a close second. Super Steed was gone.
It was about a half length or 3/4 length.
Did he gain on him?
He
Okay.
tightened it up. And I think this really flatters the California horses. To me, that's what, because Sueno is,
Who?
well,
Who?
Mucho Gusto. that's
Okay,
like,
Mucho Gusto.
because you saw Gunmetal Gray and Sueno, and then Mucho Gusto takes care of Gunmetal Gray the way we all thought he should. I think this goes back to flattering that, because if Sueno runs against 14 horses in California that are the 14 best Derby prospects, where does he finish?
That's true.
Ninth.
Yeah,
right?
mid-pack at best.
And
Yeah.
so to me, this kind of it really makes me feel like the best horses are in California right now, and maybe down in Gulfstream with a couple of them. But and I'm going to say the same thing when we start talking about War of Will. With that race, to me, it showed that what was behind him wasn't as good as much as he was that good, and that's one of my big takeaways.
Yeah. So I don't think there's anything else left to say about this field. I think you can pretty much scratch off, a lot of these horses. I guess we'll just lead right into War of Will. That's a great lead in. So War of Will won the Grade 2 Risen Star Stakes at Fairgrounds. He won the Lecomte before that. He's going to try to be just the third horse since 1994 to win all 3 races at Fairgrounds.
Yep. I think he's got a great shot doing it.
Well, yeah, look at the talent they keep putting out there. I think we can officially close the book on Fusca Parfait. That's back-to-back times. It
was really disappointing.
He had a lot of excuses in the Lecomte. I didn't see any. I didn't see anything. I couldn't see anything because the feed's terrible with Fairgrounds. They've got cameras from like the 80s.
Yeah.
But but still,
Gunnett really messed this race up.
Yeah.
One of your favorites, what's her name? Fatal Beret, right? No. What's the speed horse you love? Fawn Mira will mess races up because she just goes, and it completely messes it. And that's what Gunnett did in this race. Gunnett went and completely messed it up. And I think War of Will ran a really good race. I think Aaron pointed this out beautifully on the live show. War of Will gets good trips because War of Will has tactical speed. And we've talked about how valuable tactical speed is in this day and age before. And the last 3 Derby winners were all tactical speed horses. You can't be too far back, but you don't want to be on the lead either. And War of Will has those exact aspects, which really allows you from the 14th post where they run into the turn, which you're always going to have when you're going 1 1/8, 1 1/4. With the run into the turn, you're going to be able to get good position. And that's exactly what War of Will got to sit off the speed. The buyer came back at a 92. They had a great conversation on Blinkers Off on I think it was Thursday or Friday show about buyers versus time form. And we talked about at the end of ours where we didn't like the allowance, which had better buyers than the Lecomte, which had worse buyers.
Right.
And that proved out. And Aaron and Jerry did a great job talking about how when you looked at the 2 races, the time form really liked the Lecomte a lot more than that allowance. And that's really what played out here. I expect, and I asked Aaron, and I think he said there was a 101 that came back for the time form. I expect War of Will's time form to be very good in this race.
Yes.
Because if you look at the chart, War of Will was on the pace for the first half. Mm-hmm. The other 4 horses that were in the top 5 spots finished the last 4 spots, and War of Will won the race.
Right.
And everyone who came in 2nd to 5th came from the way back. So that means that War of Will did the work and got the job done. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what else was in this race, and that's to me the big thing. I'm not a big time person, but the fact that Serengeti Empress would have been about a half length behind War of Will really bothers me in this race. And War of Will worked a lot harder to do it, so I don't want to just blindly say that. But I'm not a huge Serengeti Empress fan. I'm really still trying to figure out why she got a lone lead in that race because I was shocked no one else went with her.
Right.
I'm not sure what else is behind here. And I do think that Country House, if Country House has a couple more races, has much more upside. And that to me is the other part of this. I think War of Will, I think we've seen his best in these last 2 races. I'm not sure that he can get to the 100, 101, 102 buyer level or the 110 time form level that it takes to win a Derby.
Right. That makes sense. And that's a great point. You know what kills me about War of Will is this is a horse you and I both liked a lot when he was a juvenile and running on the turf. He's my war front. Obviously, you're going to try him on the turf. So what kills me is that when he was on the turf, he was a front runner.
Yeah.
And our thing
wouldn't stop. We wanted him to stop.
He just, and then he would hang. He'd like hang right at the end. And he looked damn good in every single one of his turf races.
Yep.
He didn't break his maiden. He was second in the Grade 1 summer at Woodbine. He didn't break his maiden until after he switched to the dirt.
Yeah.
He raced in Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf as a maiden and did not embarrass himself.
No, but
but he just hung and hung and hung. And now we're seeing switching to the dirt is completely different. One thing I will give him credit for, his first 2 dirt races were in the slop, in the mud. Yep. And I said, I'm not going to be a believer in this horse until he can do it on a fast ground. He had a fast ground.
Well, that was fast. Define believer.
I believe that it wasn't a fluke. I don't believe he's going to win the Kentucky Derby. I believe that his performances on the dirt, like you can portend that to be success, to be the same thing moving forward.
Okay,
but
so you're comfortable with him on a fast track or a muddy track, but you're not. You still don't think he's.
I think he's close to his ceiling, like you said.
Okay, yeah. Because I was thinking about this yesterday. Because I've been critical of War of Will in the last 48 hours on the Race and News Checks chain.
Yeah, I've been a little bit.
Just a little bit. It was the 5th slowest ever Rising Star. I mean, so he would have lost by 8 lengths to Ravazzo's time. Now I'm not a big time guy, but in the last 15 years, this was the 5th slowest, and Serengeti Empress was the 5th fastest. So same track. Just saying. But. To me, a lot of it is just how the horse sets up and the race sets up. I feel like this is the ceiling. So I was thinking, if I set it up, where would I put him right now in the Kentucky Derby chain?
Yeah,
I would say he's somewhere in the 7-8 range. Like I wouldn't even let him crack the top 5 yet. And we haven't seen a lot of the horses, and that makes it tough because
it's so tough.
Game Winner, Improbable,
Instagram,
Hidden Scroll. We haven't seen him come out and run outside of that mile race.
Mucho, we're still waiting for him to debut.
I'm not that. Look at this optimism. Look at this optimism.
That's all I have, Mike. That's all I have.
That's all we have. It's all we have.
I'm not wearing pink at the Breeders' Cup.
But I still just, if you put this horse against Mucho Gusto,
yeah, I'm
going to bet Mucho Gusto. And I don't know if I'm not sure what he's beaten yet. And so I'm still waiting. I'm interested to see him go somewhere besides Louisiana before I'm ready to crown him as a horse that I would put money on sub 10-1 in the Derby.
What might benefit us as bettors is if we aren't confident that he can do well in the Kentucky Derby. Say he wins the Louisiana Derby, which at this point, who in this group of Louisiana horses?
Someone needs to ship
Country House might be able to give him, might be able to step up. But other than that, he's going to take a shipper, right? Yeah. So let's just extrapolate this and say, all right, we're coming up to the Kentucky Derby. You just saw a horse win all 3 legs of the Louisiana Triple Crown Preps.
Impressively.
He's going to take a lot of money. Well, it's going to help us who don't want to bet him to win, get a better price on different horses.
I was shocked because 2 or 3 people on Twitter were like, "We just saw the Derby favorite." I was like, "Man, I hope that's a Derby favorite."
Country House?
I'm like, "Oh, if War Will's a Derby favorite, I'm going to be very excited about betting the Derby." I put my first 2 Derby future bets in this week. I've got Hidden Scroll and Instagram at 40-1, and watching all of these horses run make me more excited for the horses that haven't run versus more excited for the horses that have. I think that's one of my big takeaways. Is I'm getting more excited about Instagram and seeing Hidden Scroll run back and Game Winner and Improbable. And what can they do versus I am getting more excited about the horses that have run or are continuing to run into these we'll call it now that these are major preps now. I mean, 50 points, you're in the gate.
Right. Yeah, no, he's definitely in now. I don't know. It's tough because it's almost like a war of attrition staying at the top of people's Derby rankings. Like everyone, most everyone has Game Winner, Improbable, Instagram right there in their top 5, right? Yep. Even after this weekend, top 5. Those 3 haven't run since last fall. Instagram has run since last summer. So they're up there because they haven't come out and shown that they're not any good this year. Like Maximus Mischief fell.
Yep.
But he was highly regarded. Coliseum, highly regarded, and then he fell off. So
I'd still have Maximum Mischief in my top 8.
You think he can? Well, it was his first start in a while.
It was his first start as a 3-year-old, and he ran after a hot pace, and he just didn't kick the way that you want him to kick. Like, to me, I don't think that you necessarily saw everything from him yet. And I'm like, think about Good Magic's first race back.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was the Fountain of Youth, Holy Bowl, one of them,
and the
Flame Away.
I hate the guy for Wired the Field.
Flame Away?
No.
Promises Fulfilled.
Yeah. Dale Roman's horse, Wired the Field.
Yeah.
I'll buy you a beer later. So, I will forgive first starts as an early 3-year-old season for a horse that we saw a lot of potential with, and he's another one of those that can be that stalker closer type horse,
right?
Versus someone who has to have the lead or is coming from way off the pace.
I want a quick shout out to Jason watching us live. Yeah. Jason's been a big supporter of us and follower of all the tickets. Jason's great about submitting his tickets and everything. So Jason, hope you had a better day picking than I did.
Yeah, and I agree with Jason. If you'd missed the wedding on Super Steed, don't go to the funeral next time.
Oh my
out.
God, it's a total funeral. Any race Super Steed is in after this, unless it's a claimer. That's the funeral.
I don't think it'll be a claimer. I'm just a hunch. Just calling it now. One horse I want to talk about.
Sure.
Because I said play defensively against this horse, and I was really impressed with Synchrony.
Oh yeah.
So the turf course at Fairgrounds, all from what I watched, I only watched Saturday. Speed was favored.
Yes.
And I was against Great Wide Open at the start of the day, and I played Great Wide Open on every ticket because of how well Speed was doing.
Oh yeah.
We saw a 78-1 Malibu Moon horse go wire to wire with a Kitten's Joy horse that just couldn't get by a couple races before, and Speed had just been holding all day, and Synchrony came from second to last and never looked like a loser.
Oh yeah.
And the buyer numbers were all in line with all these different horses. The time form was all. It wasn't Synchrony wasn't a standout.
No.
He was running against better, so this was a drop in class in that way. But man, he was impressive. I mean, he didn't look like a loser at all around the final turn, which sucked for me because I was against him. But I was really impressed with what Synchrony was able to do in this comeback. He loves Fairgrounds, so you kind of take a grain of salt there. But
he won this race last year, the Fairgrounds handicap last year.
That to me was the most impressive performance of that day.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Synchrony against the track bias looked amazing in that race.
Yeah, well, and even the photo that's on racingnews.com on the recap, Joe Bravo is grinning as he's going across the line, and he said afterwards, he's like, the plan was don't get too far behind because it was speed favoring and keep it close. Now he was second to last, but he wasn't, a country mile behind them. He stayed close enough, and they came running right off the turn. And yeah, he barely even hit Synchrony. He just was riding him. And as he's crossing, just big old grin because he knew it was a speed. I mean, that horse was. I had multiple horses in the pick four, and I had Bandua at 35-1, and I was screaming, and I was like, "Come on!" As I knew it was going to knock out almost everyone.
And he got the trip.
And he had
and Synchrony just ran him down.
Synchrony just better.
Yeah,
just better.
Ran him down.
Just a better horse.
And that was to me that was impressive because I remember Synchrony at Arlington. I've seen Synchrony and Synchrony couldn't run down Coach Endike. There's other horses that just, but that was the best performance I've seen from Synchrony. So I'm interested to see because that was off a layoff too. So can we improve back off that? And he ran well off a layoff last year, so maybe he likes the time off and the freshening. But if he can improve off that, he becomes more and more dangerous moving forward.
I agree. I want to talk about the another race we saw here because Jason's asking about Galilean. He won the Cal Cup Derby. Now it was a 5-horse field at State Breds.
Yeah.
This horse had gotten. I mean, I got to check my numbers here, but his buyer numbers were ridiculous. So. He'd never raced less than. I grabbed the wrong sheet. This is the California Cup, folks. Good job, Chris. No, don't have it. He'd always been in the mid to high 80s. Is my point with the buyer.
Yeah, I think 88 was his top. Before.
Yeah, and coming into this, he'd only lost once. It was to Cruel Intention, who was a Bob Baffert trained Calbred, lost by a slim neck. So he was very clearly a very classy horse. The rest of the field was trash. We just say that was a trash field. I mean, the Calbreds, most of them aren't that good. I'll be honest. And then Galilean just completely crushed them. To me, he didn't look like he ever really got out of second gear. Flavian gave him a couple of shakes of the reins and he kicked away, but he was just cruising. His tail was swishing a little bit. I thought it was just a fantastic race. But it was against trash Calbreds. So the question remains, how much do you really consider this horse moving forward? I will say after the race, the connections, he's owned by West Point Thoroughbreds, and they more or less said he's going to go out of state for his next race because the next points race at Santa Anita, he's going to see game winner, improbable, Instagram, any combination of those three. And they're wisely going, if we want to make the Derby, we need to go, maybe Sunland Park or somewhere else to get 50 points. So how much do you give him?
Well, I think that this horse, and who won the Camino Real?
Another Twist of Fate.
I think another Twist of Fate and Galilean you can put in the same breath. We don't know how good they are yet.
That's true. Yes.
And we've seen them do exactly what they're supposed to do. So you can't take anything away from them. But you really need them to spread their wings, and you need to figure out what else is there. I mean, one of my biggest knocks on Galilean is the 2 of his 3 races coming into this were at Los Al. And so, he's never gone 2 turns anywhere but Los Al. And that's a big thing. This field, I mean, the best buyer was 80 outside of him.
And that horse finished 4th, Irish Heatwave.
And he did everything that he should. He was impressive. He was professional.
Yep.
He ran a glorified workout today. And that's why to me, you really kind of have to, it's another one of those pump the brakes performances. Now, this is one of those horses where I do think it gets interesting to you when you see what does Pratt do. Does Pratt follow this horse? Because that to me would be that gives away what he feels about the horse, which is much more knowledgeable than what you and I feel about the horse. I think that is something you want to look forward to. Is does Pratt go to Sunland and ride this horse if he does end up there? Does he go to Louisiana and Louisiana Derby and ride this horse? What happens from the jockey perspective? Because I think that will tell you as much about those two horses moving forward as anything else. If top jockeys pick up those mounts, they're dangerous and you have to respect them.
I completely agree. Watch what they're doing moving forward. We can talk real quick about another twist of fate. I mean, it wasn't much of a field. It was at Golden Gate Fields, which never attracts much anyways. Bob Baffert sent Kingley up there because he was ready to run. Kingley,
was he?
as ready as he's ever going to be. Listen, Kingley chased him the whole race, and he didn't give up. He still finished second, but another twist of fate destroyed him in the stretch. So I think Kingley, you can close the book on that.
Derby perspective, yes.
Yeah. Another twist of fate. Now, my idea was, because the Jeff Ruby Stakes is the only other synthetic surface race that they have for the preps. That's in 3 weeks. That's a quick turnaround for him. I don't think they do that. I think they should. If I was the Connections, I would wait until the Lexington at Caneland, or maybe even the Bluegrass if you think he's got the talent. Wait until that point and aim for those. But they want to. I mean, their goal is to go on the Kentucky Derby Trail with him. But he's already in the Preakness. This is the first year the El Camino Real Derby. The winner got to go to the Preakness automatically. So he's automatically in that, but they want the Derby. I think it's stretching. I think it's pushing it. I think they should take their Preakness bid as a gift and go and prep for that.
I think you run him on dirt, traditional dirt, and find out what you have. And if it's not good, you don't send him to the Preakness. Like there's more valuable 3-year-old turf races than we've seen in a long time, with Saratoga announcing their new turf special series.
Yeah, the Naira triple turf, whatever.
And a lot of times, synthetic translates better to turf than dirt.
Yep.
And so maybe this horse wants the turf. Find out what you got, because he looked really good. He looked really good in that race. Find out what you have. Figure out whether or not you've got a really good dirt horse or not. And if you don't waste starts. Like, go to some grade 1 turf races, figure out where this horse fits the most. Because I agree, like the Derby Trail is something you definitely want to be involved in. Run one race, see if you can do it. If you can't, figure out what the horse is best at and go in that direction. I think that's how you're going to end up with the best overall season for the horse. And it's clearly a very talented horse after that race.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, he's a $360,000 purchase at auction. You never see a $360,000 horse based at Golden Gate.
Rarely, yeah.
Like that, you never see that, and so
makes you think of Maximus Mischief at Parks, though.
That's true.
I mean, so there are some of those horses that end up having a ton of talent, and I still will say this is a money game. Like, if the horse sold for $360, it's got a lot better chance than being better than a lot of the other horses that sold for $60, $80, $100. Like, I believe in following the money when it comes to young horses.
I completely agree. What other races did you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about Serengeti Empress for a little bit? How about this? The Aaron's thing on blinkers off before and then after the race, he reaffirmed it, is that you always have to include her because she's one of those shoot to the lead and try and hold on horses. And when it comes to turf, I love those horses. You know that. Yeah, my Glorious Empire is my fond mirrors. On the dirt, I don't trust it so much. I played against her and she knocked me out of the pick 4. I don't regret it. At 9-5, I did not like her at all. There wasn't pace pressure, but moving forward, I'm not going to play her again.
Well, first off, I'm shocked there was no pace pressure.
What the hell happened there?
When you look at the actual form, it looked like there was going to be 3 or 4 horses lining up for the lead. So to me, if you're going to say a horse needs to be a must include in multi-race bets, like, I hate Glorious Empire with a passion. I think we've gone over that. I really don't like this horse. But your argument, you have to include Glorious Empire, when Glorious Empire is going off at 8-1, 15-1, 12-1. Okay.
Then you're looking to steal it. You're just go, baby.
I'm not going to talk you off a 10-1 horse.
Yeah.
I will talk you off a 9-5 that needs the lead and has absolutely thrown in clunker time after time. To me, that's a horse you try and beat. And so I would say you use her if there's no other speed.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's any other speed, I would. To me, she's closer to an auto chuck than an auto use, because I'm never getting a price. If I always get a price, if I'm always getting 2-1, and I know she's either going to be good or be bad, well, there's my 2-1. Like, where's the value, right? Whereas Glorious Empire, 8-1, 15-1, 10-1, that's a hell of a lot better than the 2-1, right? And then when you think about multi races, if I'm not singling every other race, I'm actually paying 4 or 5 bullets for her to be on the ticket.
Right.
And so for me, I would rather auto chuck that horse than auto use that horse, unless there's no other pace pressure. Because clearly, if she gets an easy lead, she's a very good horse.
Right.
But if she gets headed, I mean, she quits worse than an 80-year-old making the turn on a golf course in Las Vegas in July, right?
You love that analogy.
I love that
That's
analogy.
a good one. I did also earlier today at Oaklawn. We saw Coal Front in the Razorback, which it was interesting. I thought it was. I laughed a little bit because Coal Front was supposed to run at Gulfstream Park last month. I can't remember what was the race. Coppertown hit his head. And
yeah, it was supposed to be on. I was there, Pegasus Day. It was in Pegasus.
the Fred Hooper. That's what it was. So they scratched Coal Front out of the Fred Hooper, and they said, we're going to move him to the Razorback. Okay. He draws outside 14 for a 2-turn race at Oaklawn. I was like, oh, God, like they must be like, what kind of bad luck is that? He looked good. I mean, he bolted. He did what he needed to. It reminded me of Gun Runner in the Pegasus, where he just shot out of the far outside as fast as he could and got over so that he wasn't running 20 wide in the turn.
Yep.
He ran 2 wide, and then he stalked and pounced, and then ended up getting the win. Nice, impressive. He's but where do we rank him in the handicap division?
Where do we rank anyone in the handicap division? That division is the most messed up freaking division right now.
Is Justify still the top horse in the division right now?
A Gun Runner, like if Gun Runner ran tomorrow, I'd bet him. Like I'm not even kidding. Well,
City of Light,
maybe a month. Give him a little bit, give him a little time, right?
Yeah,
like, but that division, I don't know. It was supposed to be McKinsey. It's not.
No.
Battle
of Midway looked like he might make a bid for it. He didn't.
Is North America the best older male right now? Like if he wins Dubai and comes over to the U.S., you're betting against him? I mean, that's tough. That division is really tough. So I'm not even sure where to go with that.
Is Mendelssohn on top?
Not if he's running behind Bellafina. So that division, I think, is really tough. I think we're going to get more clarity as the year goes on. I still want to see Catalina Cruiser come back. Like, is Catalina Cruiser?
He's over there somewhere.
I don't know. We need to put like a little milk carton, put the picture on the side. Like I have no clue where this horse is. So I think that's another one that's interesting to come back. So that division's a mess, man. We need someone to step up and take it over because it's exciting when you have that's like the heavyweights.
Right.
When you have heavyweights in boxing, it's so exciting because they're just trading blows and going back and forth. And man, we do not have that superstar right now in racing.
And even last year we had Accelerate and City of Light. Like they had a good battle.
Well, you could throughout the entire year there was a conversation because there was Diversify in New York, there was Catalina Cruiser in California who Accelerate avoided in one race. Let's not forget about that. And then you had City of Light who ran in the dirt mile, and then you had him come over, and we all were on City of Light in the Pegasus. You had a bunch of these different horses that were at least worth talking about.
Yeah.
And now we're like, if you asked all 4 or 5 of us to rank the top 5 handicap horses, I bet not one single list of 5 would be the same.
No.
And that's crazy to think about. I mean, we might even have the same 5 horses.
Right.
I would. The top 3 would probably not be the same on any one person's listing, and that is.
I can't even think of who.
That's mind blowing compared to what we've had with just the passing of the torches from the Chromes to the Arrogates to the Gun Runners to the City of Lights to the Accelerates. Like we've had just awesome horses, and now it's just a cluster. It's a dumpster fire. It's like whatever saying you want to use. So
that's tough. I don't know. I know what we do.
That's all I got.
That's all I got too.
Well, we will be back on Wednesday.
Yep.
We're recording live for the Stronach 5. So everybody out there, make sure you handicap the Stronach 5. We'll be live on YouTube on Wednesday for my wonderful Airbnb in Santa Monica. There's a $167,000 carryover. So if it's not just to see Magic and I, it's also because it's a really good sequence.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to doing that.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
It's been fun. Mike, you left your house at about 1 a.m. West Coast time?
Yeah.
To get here today. So we're going to call it early. Let Mike get some sleep so that, by Wednesday you're refreshed and ready to go again. So
picking winners, baby.
I'm glad we were able to come out here, have a couple dollar beers. I want to thank everybody for joining us on YouTube. Make sure you are watching, as Mike said, on Wednesday. We'll have all the podcasts up as well in case you missed it, but try not to miss it because this is a lot of fun, and we'll have a lot of time Wednesday for interactions after the show. As we
love questions on the races.
Yeah, love it. All right, everybody. I'm Magic.
I'm Mike. He's Frank Miramati.
Frank Miramati taking us away. See you next time, everybody.
Cool.
Jason, thanks for watching, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Ryan, dude, Brandon, I'm sorry you weren't here, man.
Yeah, it's a little interesting too with the whole noises in the background. So
I hope everybody could actually hear us.
all right, guys, we're gonna call it.
I have the 7? Oh, I don't think I have the 7. Hang on.